Hello and welcome to Coffee Chat, Jody Myciak. Well, if you don't know me, I'm Jody, and I am so excited to be here today. I'm really excited about this coffee chat. Why? Because today I open it up to other people's questions. So if you are live and you want to ask me a question, awesome. If you're not ready, I have a couple questions I can answer. So if you're not ready, it takes a lot of courage to get out and ask questions. And if you're not ready, it is okay. So I have done my homework and I've made sure that I have some questions to answer. Things that people have I've seen come up for people, and we'll talk about them. Plus, today, I'm going to share, I had a couple really aha learning moments last week and this week even, of where I've just really got in touch with my emotions and really realized a couple things. And I'm just going to share them with you. I'll try not to go on too long with them. But know that we're all human. No one's perfect. Neither am I. And I just really want to show you some really amazing lessons I learned this week and last week. So grab your coffee, your tea. If you drink a smoothie in the morning, it might even be morning for you anymore. Just grab whatever you like to drink, and I'm drinking coffee today. I made it, or actually my husband was able to make it before I got on. So grab it and have a drink with me, and let's talk about what it is that you'd like to talk about today. So I don't see any comment. Actually, you know what? I'm going to refresh things, because what might happen is, no, I don't want to reload the site. You know what? I'm hoping that things just come up. If you're there, please just give me a thumbs up even, and or like a hello, and we'll go from there. So, like I said, I had a couple questions that I found. That way we could kind of start it, and then if you get comfortable or you want to ask a question, something comes up, you can just put it in the comments below. And I can either put it on the screen so people see below, or I can just answer them off the screen. So there is a mom. So some of these I've actually found on different forums, and these are actually real life questions. So somebody has like a 1-month-old and then a stepson that is 18 years old. And it's a huge thing, so I'm not going to read it all. But it's to the point where she's just really, she's doing all the mother duties, changing, because it's a 1-month-old. She's doing all this work and she's feeling really tired. And the stepson isn't doing anything around the house, doesn't, go check on the baby when the baby's been crying. And it gets down, I think the husband talked to her, but it's very much like she's not eating breakfast or anything. She said she doesn't have time to eat breakfast or pump or any of that. And she's just venting. She doesn't even have an appetite. Yeah, she's like, I'm just venting here. But really what she's doing is she's trying to find somebody to reach out and help her. And anybody knows that no one can save you. However, you can get support. And I think a big thing for this person, so if you're going through something where you don't feel like you're getting help, you feel like you're sinking and drowning because you're doing so much. She's not even eating. Because I'm doing this in the Self-Love Club, most of you know that it's about taking care of you too. And obviously we don't always do it, and that's okay. This is not to feel guilty. That's not what I try to do. But she's not eating. So it's finding that time and having that conversation. And it's really figuring out, for this one, it's a unique situation. It's a stepson that's 18. And part of it can be talking to her husband, and is figuring out the relationship with the stepson and what is going on there. So it's setting healthy boundaries and sticking to them. Clearly, he's old enough to take on some responsibilities. She was really getting upset because she was doing it all, and then he wanted her to do the dishes too. Well, my question would be, first off, is her husband helping her pull the weight? I firmly believe just because we're stay-at-home moms with a child, we don't have to do it all. You don't have to. This whole idea of a stay-at-home mom has to do everything in the house is a little crazy. It's kind of old-fashioned, in my opinion. So it's really having a conversation, setting boundaries, and knowing to take care of her. Like, she's gonna, 1 month old, if she doesn't take the time to start eating, she's going to disintegrate and not be able to take care of her baby or herself anymore. So it's really boundary setting, figuring out a plan, getting help. I don't know what kind of help she has. She has an 18-year-old living in the house, so why not have him help? But I think that's what's annoying her the most. So it's really about setting healthy boundaries. Okay. So if you have a situation there where you just don't feel like somebody's pulling the weight in your household or in your life, you need to have a conversation with them. Yelling at them is not healthy. Like, it's not about yelling at them because they're not going to listen to you yell. It's about having a sit-down conversation. A calm sit-down conversation. So another one is... She's like, I understand that my husband wants to spend time with me, but she, when she has her downtime, when the kids are in bed, she wants to be productive. So she wants to do things that actually light her up and bring her joy. Her husband wants to watch TV. And she wants to do, the things that she doesn't do. She says to him, she doesn't get any alone time all day. So when she finally gets it in the evening, she just wants to do something that she likes and not just sit there on the couch and watch TV. And that makes her feel guilty. And then she's super frustrated with her husband. And she feels like he's immature and selfish. So I personally think scheduling is in order with this. If you find that things in your life are just kind of, if you're compromising one way, like you're never doing what you want, or you're always doing what you want and not what your husband wants, compromising is in the way. There is there. However, that being said, there's not much compromising in my opinion. You have 7 days a week. For instance, we schedule date night. So date night is Friday night for us. We don't always leave the house. Actually, in fact, lately we haven't, just because I don't want to go out really late and then have to nurse my son right before. It just, with him waking up still, it's just, we stay in, but that is our time. The kids go to bed, no chores, nothing. It's our time. And with us being tired, it's usually just hanging out watching a movie or something. Sometimes we play games, but we get to decide that the day of, really. And then I have Tuesday me nights. And now my husband does too, because he was feeling that he didn't have enough time on his own. And at one point he felt that he wasn't seeing his friends enough. I'm like, well, pick a day and just go do it. So it's really about whatever's missing in your life, schedule it in. Scheduling is a huge thing. If you want to journal at night, it's putting it into your schedule. Like, what time is that going to happen? Is it right after the kids go to bed, or is it, a half hour before I go to bed? It's really about putting it in your calendar. And if you are with a partner, you need to have a conversation with that person, because they can't read your mind. And be like, look, this is how I feel, and I have an idea. Let's give it a try. And at one point, my husband and I would do a monthly check-in. We had a schedule going on, and we're like, okay, let's come back in a month and see if this has been working for us. And it's doing a check-in. Just be like, okay, are we happy with what we're doing, or are we unhappy? Now, the summer is kind of throwing everything off because it's the summer. So he hasn't been able to see his friends as often because they're busy. We're busy, things like that. But it's all about working together, and really it is scheduling your time and having a conversation with the person. And I know so far both these questions are about talking to the other person. So a big part of it is knowing who you are, knowing what it is you really want. So then when you talk to the other person, you know you're confident in what you're asking for, what it is you're looking for, and can do it in a loving way. So this one actually brought up some emotions for me. I'll be completely honest. When I read it, my heart goes to this woman / couple, only because I'll just explain. But it brought up some emotions just because I just want them to have a happier relationship than they have. So right off the bat, this relationship is unhealthy. And if you have this kind of relationship, I'll hopefully give you some ideas of how to help it. I'm not saying it's over for these people. It's just they need to address some issues. So this woman here writes, so they have a 4-year-old and a 3-month-old. I almost have the same situation now. My son's a little older now, but we kind of have, actually it's a year, they have a slightly bigger gap actually between the kids. But she's always been a stay-at-home mom. And her husband likes to have everything like super neat to the point where they get compliments on their house because like this is unbelievably like uber clean. Like this is not even possible to keep a house clean. And her husband's currently full-time and doing school. So already like that's a lot on their plate for having 2 young children. Doing full-time and school. So her dilemma is he still expects her with 2 children to keep an immaculate house. He actually belittles her by sending her articles about how to have your stay-at-home wife, clean your house, get the house clean. So there's a couple things that need to go on. Obviously, she can't change him, but again, it's healthy boundary setting. And for both of them, it's lowering their expectations. It was great that they could have a house clean, like that you could probably eat off the floor. However, it's not realized. Wait till these kids get even older. Anybody that with kids that, like, even now, like my son's walking, and our house, there's always crumbs on the floor. If I had to like keep I would be constantly cleaning. And actually, at the end, her question is, how do you guys handle from 1 kid to 2 housework, finding time to sleep, making sure each kid has their time, heck, even remembering to eat? Sometimes things have to give, like housework. And it's really having a conversation with her husband because what he did was very degrading of her, and it's setting healthy boundaries. And it really is about lowering your expectations. I love a clean house too, but you gotta let it go sometimes. It's either sleep or I don't even know if she's sleeping ever. Because think about having those 2 young kids. I'd be constantly vacuuming up the crumbs that they leave on the floor. And I think that's overwhelming of having these expectations. Because she actually says, what is it? She feels so down on herself. She doesn't feel like she's good enough. So instead of her husband supporting her through this process of having, a 3-month-old. So at this point, she's probably not even sleeping through the night. And that's why it breaks my heart. Relationships need to work together. I get it. He's working full-time and doing school. But she's also working full-time and being a mom. Like, because cleaning a house would be a full-time job. And a mother. It's really, again, I'll get the solution. So First off, she needs to sit down with her husband. So if you have any of this kind of unhealthy relationship with the husband, has like over expectations of things, like things change. And you might as well learn this now instead of years from now when the kids are older and things are constantly changing. You can't always keep things the same. You gotta let things go. Like once these kids are older, yes, they can pick up their own toys, but there's gonna be things around. So might as well have a conversation now. Get that over with. Set healthy boundaries. Be like, look, when you do this, it makes me feel. So whenever you have somebody in your life that, now there's, I don't know if I think I've talked about triggers, but there's triggers where you get so angry. And that's really somebody showing you where you need to heal. So I think right now what she needs to do is really heal her heart and really fall in love with her again. So she knows where she is, so she can stand up to her husband and say, look, when you do this, it makes me feel. Right now, she doesn't even know that he's making her feel crappy. She thinks she's making her feel crappy. So it's healing on both sides. So if you're in a relationship like this, I really encourage, I would love to talk to you actually. But if you're not ready for that, it's really sitting down with yourself, coming true with you, and then making those steps. And it can be really tricky to talk to somebody, especially somebody like your husband, and have this conversation. It's difficult, but it's all about remembering to come from a place of love when you have this conversation. So I hope that helps. And trying to think. Sorry guys, I'm just rereading just to make sure I cover all the points. I was really excited. Yeah, it's just about scheduling. So anytime you feel overwhelmed, it's time to take a step back. Look at the situation. Are you sleep deprived? Do you need sleep? Do you need food? Do you need your self-love, self-care? And dress accordingly. So that brings me into what happened. Let's go with last week first. So last week I went to the naturopath, and I actually was scheduled to see her in August, and I decided I was too busy to see her, or at least that's what I told myself. And that's what I actually believed for the longest time. And I didn't get my homework done, something that I just was supposed to be tracking. And I was just like, I don't have time for this. This is not important to me right now. But I go see her last week, and we start talking. And I'm like, oh my goodness, how did I miss that? I was kind of like self-sabotaging. I didn't go to her because I didn't want to face things. I didn't go when I needed to talk to her the most and see her and have that support. So let me go back a little bit. So I just ran the other direction. I don't normally cancel anything for me. It would have been a red flag right there. Unless I'm sick or something really important comes up, I usually stick to my obligations. Unless it's like I'm just so sleep deprived, something comes up. But I normally keep true to my plans, unless life just happens. But this was a weak excuse. I didn't get my homework done, like the thing that she wanted me to get done, and I didn't feel like going. It was like, oh, I'm too busy. We're never too busy. It's you can always make time for the things that are important. So I was talking with her. I'm like, oh my goodness, I did this to myself. Like, how was I unaware of this? So it reminded me, and I actually did this with my business coach too. I was gonna call and cancel the one time for our scheduled appointment or scheduled call. And my husband's like, no, this is the time you need to talk to her the most, when you're struggling. So I just realized that I too do this, but we actually run or walk or turn away from people when we need their help, their support the most. It's really just, it's those fears coming up. And we think it's for our own good, but it's not. So when you feel like you need to run the other way, that is when you need help or support the most. So keep that in mind in any area of your life. That when you're feeling resistance to talk to somebody, or when you're making excuses not to show up, really be aware of that, and see if it's legit, or if it's your fears coming up, or you just don't want to feel them or face them. And that brings me to what I learned yesterday. It's been like a whole learning curve here. And that's what we do. Life is about that. And that's why I say life. Like, my journey's still happening. It is. And my big important thing is that I can share what I learned, so your journey is not as long, not as like, we all have our own journeys to live, but that you can maybe get through the struggle a little faster. Because I've also had that help in different areas of my life where I've learned from other people. And I'm just so happy that I'm at a place where I was talking to my naturopath. Sorry, I met her at the midwife office when I was pregnant. What was it? So I lost my train of thought. Sorry, guys. But I'm so happy that I was able to realize, just having a conversation with my naturopath, that I was like, wow, I was running. I didn't want to face it. I didn't want to face that I was maybe doing too much, or I'm trying to think exactly. I was slipping with, well, I don't like to use the word slipping, but I wasn't eating as healthy as I would like, and I didn't want to tell her, and I wasn't working out as much, and I didn't want to tell her. So, but that doesn't make what I'm doing different. And in a way, it's actually belittling who I am and not loving me fully, mistakes and all. So it's really embracing who you are. And okay, so now we're getting to this week, like yesterday. And it's actually feeling the feelings. Actually, here, let me just see. Okay, so it is feel your feelings, share your feelings, so you can release them and move on. So let me explain. So I was actually Tuesday, I had a call with my business coach, and we barely talked business at all. Actually, we talked about my life and how I've just been trying to get one foot in front of the other, and really just gaining traction, and staying consistent in my life, and having my naturopath help me, make sure I have the vitamins, the rest, like, just to counterbalance the rest that I'm not getting on a normal basis. And we just got talking, and I was completely honest with her. I said how awful I was feeling lately. So not to bring it down, because I don't want to bring you down. But quick little thing, like over the past couple of days, earlier this week, I was feeling kind of down. A lot down, actually. And I was just, in the morning, by the afternoon, I was, going, but I was like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. So I was telling her all, and I shared it all, and I got it all on the table. The next day, what happened? I woke up chipper. I got my kid out the door, like Anastasia, my daughter, out the door. We were having a great time. Like, everything ran smoothly. It maybe not in an essence of like the kids aren't like, kids have their moments of tantrums and things like that. And that doesn't matter. I was in a really good flow where it's like, okay, you don't like this, let's move on and let's figure out how to get you the door smoothly still. Like, it just flowed. Maybe things weren't perfect, but they flowed because I wasn't growly and like, oh my goodness, this day's awful. I was happy. Why? I felt my feelings. I felt them Monday and Tuesday. I shared my feelings. And then I released them and said, I don't want to feel this anymore. And I found a way, like, it's really about focus, like, being like, look, this is happening. And it's really shining light on it, not covering it up. And a lot of the time we cover up our feelings, like, oh, I feel like crap. Oh, I shouldn't feel like crap. I shouldn't feel this way. Let's just put it under the carpet. And that's kind of what I think I was doing Monday and Tuesday. It's like, oh, I feel terrible, but I really don't want to. So I'm like, okay, move it along, tuck it under the carpet. And it's when I addressed them on Tuesday with my coach that I really was like, whoa, and just felt really good on Wednesday. So whenever you're running away from somebody that, you know, is your shoulder to lean on, your support, your person to listen to, and you want to go the other way and you just want to run instead of be with them, that's the time to really reach out. When you feel like you can't talk about your problems, or that you don't want to think about your problems or your emotions, that is the time to reach out and really ask for help. I had a hard time asking for help earlier on. We're here to help each other. So I hope that some of my lessons this week have helped, or last week. And I would love to hear from you. I don't see any comments. So I don't want to refresh the page because it's like, you don't want to leave anyways. So it gave me a little message. So I'm hoping that it's not frozen. Like I don't want it to leave live. So if I do see comments later, I will get back to them. But I think we're okay. I can't even refresh the page actually. So if you have any questions, if you're watching this later, I know some people can't make it on live. Please, I would love to hear your insights, your aha moments. If you had a aha moment from here, I know I had a couple this week, so I really hope you can share with your aha moments. And if you have any other questions, we can do this again. Just ask me anything. So I really want you, and you can actually private message me your questions, and I don't even have to use your name if you don't want your name being used. Just like here, I kept it all confidential, and I didn't even share. I just gave like the tidbits that were really important. So I really hope you found that helpful. And again, if you have any questions, a lot of it was to do with different people this time, but maybe you have a completely different dilemma going on, or just something else that's happening for you in your life. I would love to hear about it. And if you're at that point where you want to feel your feelings, share your feelings, I would be honored and more than happy to talk with you. So if you're at that point and you're like, yes, I need to talk and share and release your feelings and move on, so you can just really become an parent from an empowered, and I'm tongue-tied today, sorry guys, become an empowered mother, and come from a place of empowered mothering. So when people cross your boundaries, you know that they're crossed. When people take advantage of you, you know how to handle it in an empowered way. Sometimes people trigger us and it's not justified, or even it could be justified, but we could have handled the situation a lot better. I'm really familiar with triggers because I've handled some of my own personally a few years ago now, and it's life-changing. It doesn't mean that the person's behavior has changed, but when we react to the person's we're not even acting anymore. We can handle the situation a lot better. So thank you so much for being here today. I am so happy and honored to be here with you. And I hope you have a beautiful day. And it's Thursday, so the weekend's almost here. So I hope you have a beautiful weekend. And bye for now.